Hi everyone, I'm Tammy McEwen and I'm a Creative Memories Advisor from London, Ontario, Canada. And I am here with your next worldwide virtual crop sketch. I am thrilled to be featuring the new It's Fall Y'all collection and with this next sketch. So let's dive in and take a look. And here it is, the super cute It's Fall Y'all collection. We have some gorgeous jewel tone papers, some super fun stickers, and look at these amazing embellishments, complete with cute little white stitching on there to add dimension, and my favorite little enamel gems. I've printed out the sketch that we're using for this challenge, and I really love doing that because it gives us a great opportunity to look at the sketch and the photos that we have to determine how we are going to interpret this sketch. So for this sketch, we can see that we have 3 layers for the background. We have an outside frame, inside frame, and then the background layer. We have some vertical photos and a border strip with the journal or a title box and our embellishment. The photos that I'm going to be using are horizontal, so they're not going to fit very well into this sketch because they're full frame photos. So what I could do is I could turn the sketch quite easily this way and still get that same effect and put my photos down the one side, have a border and my journaling or a title. We could also put the photos at the top and have the journaling or the title box down at the down below, or again turn it the opposite way. So this is actually a really fun sketch that we can interpret a variety of different ways. I'm going to use this neutral paper as the background. I think I may change my mind later, and then I'm going to create my first frame, and it's going to be this outside frame, and I'd like that to be about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to take my paper and place it into the 12-inch trimmer at the 3/4 of an inch line, and then I'm going to place the housing unit of the blade so that this line is on the 3/4 of an inch mark, and I can tell that is if I take the edge of the housing unit and put it to 1 3/4. So that is about here, because from the cut line to the edge of the housing unit is 1 inch. So I know if I put this at 1 3/4 that I'm cutting at the 3/4 inch mark. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to cut it to 3/4 of an inch here. So I'm going to press, and I'm going to roll all the way down to the 3/4 of an inch mark. And then I'm going to take my paper and turn and do the exact same thing. Put it in at the 3/4 of an inch mark. Now I have this line I can go by. I pull it down and cut to 3/4 of an inch here. And I can do that all the way around. And that has created a nice hollow frame. So that will frame the outside of my layout quite nicely. For the next inside frame, I like it to be about 1/4 of an inch. So because the first one was 3/4, this one needs to be 1 inch. So to create the 1 inch frame, I'm going to place my paper into the trimmer at the 1 inch mark, and I'm going to bring the housing unit so that the cut line is 1 inch. And this is really easy because that means the edge of the housing unit is at the edge of the paper. So that just makes this 1 inch frame super easy to make. And I'll cut all the way down until the housing unit is at the end of the paper. And I'm just going to turn So making these 1-inch frames is really easy with the 12-inch trimmer because of the way that the blade cuts 1 inch from the edge of the housing unit. So now that we have this frame cut, we can start layering. So we're going to start with the base piece, and then we're going to add our 1-inch frame, and then we're going to add our 3/4 of an inch frame. And you can see by doing that, we've saved all the insides of the paper so we can use that again. Now that I have my photos matted with the blue designer paper, I would like to add a little bit more dimension to the layers here before I adhere these frames down. So I'm going to take my dot tip pen and I'm going to use the bold tip or the dot tip and just ink the edges. Now you can't see it too noticeably, but just that tiny little subtle difference, that darker layer, is just going to add just a wee bit of dimension between this layer and the background layer. So let me just add that to this page and share with you. So you can see a fine difference between the orange pattern paper and the background paper, more so than you can on the other side. And it's just that subtle little difference that you don't really notice, but it just makes the layers pop on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and finish using the dot tip pen around the edge of the orange paper and then adhere everything down. Now that I have the layers adhered to the background, I wanted to add a little bit more dimension to this layout by adding in another frame using the Diamond Arches border punch and a scrap piece of white cardstock and my dot tip pen. So what I'm going to do is I've already punched a border using the Diamond Arches border punch. I'm going to use this border as a stencil, and I'm going to line it up along the edge of the background of the one frame, and I'm going to take the fine tip of the dot tip pen and I'm going to trace around the outside of the diamonds. That just gives it a little dimension. And then I'm going to take the dot tip and I'm just going to fill it in with a couple of dots. You could just fill it in with the dots, but I find that by using the fine edge first, it just defines the shape a little bit more. And I'm going to do this around the entire border of this layout. Now that I have my background layers and a little decorative layer and my photos adhered to the layout, it's time for the fun. It's time to add in some stickers and some embellishments, and I've added in some of the white ruled paper for my journaling. And if I take a look at the sketch, I have turned it, and so I need to add a little border element here. So I wasn't too worried that my photo at the top here went further out than this photo here. Normally I would like a nice straight line, but I'm going to take one of the border strips and lie it along here, and then take some embellishments and add in a title and some fun. And here it is, my completed layout. You can see I added in my title with an embellishment cluster here and one of those little enamel gems. I just love those. And another embellishment cluster here and in the corner, so it gives a nice weight to the page. One of the things I also did with the deep brown dot tip pen was I put a little stitching along the edge of the journal box, and I just thought that that went hand in hand with the dots we put along the edge and all the stitching that is in the embellishments. And there you have it, my interpretation of this sketch for the Creative Memories Worldwide Virtual Crop. Happy scrapbooking!